Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hit and Hustle from irishsportsdaily.com. I am your host, Greg Flamong, and with me, as always, is Jamie Ueyama, Mr. Jamie University. It is Thursday, August 20th, and we're going to do some buy or sell props today. It seemed like a fun time to do that. There's not a ton of news coming out of the Notre Dame football team right now, so let's do some buy or sell stuff. I put together some numbers. Jamie's going to prognosticate about them. I'll, of course, have my own thoughts and analysis on those. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to also get some stuff in the chat should it come up that's interesting. And usually it does. So that's going to be very fun. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. If you like what you hear, hit that like, hit subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know whenever it is we are going live. As always, the show is brought to you by ESQ Clothing, founded by Notre Dame alum Ge Wang. You've seen ESQ and all your favorite Notre Dame players and coaches. From All-Americans to All-Pros and Associates to CEOs, you're in great hands with ESQ's custom clothing. You're either looking for a perfect fitting suit or standout sport coat or a perfect tuxedo for weddings and galas. ESQ's master tailors blend traditional hand stitching in each garment with Italy and England's best fabrics. Check out Ge's amazing work at esqclothing.com. Book an appointment to upgrade your wardrobe today. Mention ISD and get 10% off your entire purchase. That's esqclothing.com. Jamie, before we get to the buy or sell props, there's a question from Matt McCarthy. There was some news that came out. Do you think Junior Tuihalamaka will return? If he wants to and is healthy, Notre Dame would be foolish to not take him. You can never have enough capable bodies and can certainly give them snaps every week. The reason that this is topical today is he was a part of like a TRO lawsuit where players were trying to get a temporary restraining order on not allowing some players that would fall into the fifth year kind of category. They didn't get drafted, right? They're not in the NFL, or some are actually in the NFL, and they want to try to come back and play in college. His name was in the lawsuit, so he's at least attempting to become eligible to the point where they have a choice. So I guess I don't know how much we've touched on this in terms of whether or not it's a good idea. Period. So where do you kind of come out on that, and then we'll get into the props.
Like a good idea for him to come back, period, or for him?
Yeah, Like where does
these
fit,
guys
right?
to get?
No. Okay. It's to me, it's a total disgrace. The game's gone. This should not be happening. Players who have played in NFL preseason games should not be trying to come back to college. That's not a good thing. However,
to be fair to him, he didn't.
He is not in that group, right? Yeah. He's kind of in a group that's in a no man's land where it's like his eligibility is exhausted. If he could come back, he probably would have come back, but he wasn't able to. And then this came up, kind of late in the process. So he's he has not played for like the 49ers or something like that. So where do you come out on the idea of him specifically coming back to the Notre Dame football team? Should it become a viable option?
I do think that they should welcome him back if he wants to come back. But also too, there has to be like an expectation from him. If he comes back thinking, well, I'm automatically like jumping into the rotation, or, he thinks he's going to have a set number of snaps. You have to be realistic with him about it. And I do think adding a body, especially when you consider think about if they didn't have him in 2024 with all the injuries they had, and how he went from a guy who didn't play in the first couple of games to all of a sudden, man, he's playing a ton, right? He got a big sack in the Sugar Bowl against Georgia, right? So I think if he wants to play, you would take him just because he's a depth guy who can play, but also you have to understand, they can't he can't take away reps from guys that they think are going to play or they want to develop. Right. So I think that's kind of important to know. It's also important to know that Notre Dame would have to have an expectation of where he's at, because while he could, obviously his name being in the thing is he wants to play. but he is not someone who was training to get back to playing right now. So he got hurt at Notre Dame's pro day. He basically like had moved on and said that was it.
Yeah.
He was still working out. He wasn't working out to the point that he was thinking, "Hey, I'm going to be back."
And he hasn't been with the team.
Yeah. And I don't think he would be disruptive in any way or anything like that. He's obviously like a team guy and a guy that is respected in the room and anything. So I'm not trying to suggest anything like that, but I'm just saying in terms of ingratiating himself back into football shape and being a college football player.
Yeah.
They can't expect him to come back and be ready to play. It's totally different than these guys who were like literally got cut like a week ago.
I think if you added him with the idea that like we're gonna try to get you ready for November, like he would be just an ad for like the playoffs, in my opinion. Just like a body who's coming. He's obviously played in playoff games, right? This isn't because you can't just ramp up your body like that. And it's like, oh, you're going to come help us in September, October. And like he also, I think while he's obviously like a very popular player within the locker room and there's no one has any hard feelings about him or anything like that. I think having not like he needs to be around the team for a certain amount of time before it's like you can just come in and be a part of it and play in games, like he would have to go earn it. And obviously he would. So to me, this would be something to look at for like end of November, into the playoffs and, things of that nature. So that's kind of where I come out on it. So it's something that we can just monitor. I don't know if there's I don't know if there's some sort of deadline for when you can add a player to your roster. I don't know how that works. I mean, to me, the whole situation is kind of a mess. And I think that's also why Notre Dame has kind of been slow playing the entire situation. It's like, look, man, one thing we can't have is this player plays in a game and then the NCAA decides later, like, actually, they were ineligible the whole time. And now your team has forfeited whatever games that they played in, So I think they're trying to gauge that as well. But since it's come up and he was a part of that, TRO lawsuit, or his name was, I figured it was a good time to talk about it. So, all right, Jamie, you ready to get into the props here? It's going to be very fun.
Yeah, hold on real quick, just because Michael O'Neill asked. No, they got 6 guys committed at defensive line. They're not interested in
the question is, does Notre Dame still want Junior Tuliank's brother? That's an interesting angle. Yeah.
He's committed to USC, and I think also too that's where he wanted to go, and it wasn't like, so I don't even know if he was really that interested. I mean, he obviously visited, but he wasn't. It wasn't like, oh, it's down to it, and he committed to USC quite a while ago.
Yeah. Let's get to this question from Sam, actually, before we get going. Would you rather have Quincy Porter be fully healthy this year, like right now, or Keon Keeley take a big step forward in his development as a defensive end? If you choose the first, Keeley is the same as he was last year, flashes a little bit, but bit part player. So you have Quincy Porter healthy, or Keon Keeley is just kind of just a super role player. That's the problem.
This is another one of those questions. Got to bring it up again, Sam K. Dumb hypothetical, because why would you want to choose one or the other? Why can't you? It's not like you're choosing somebody who's not on the team to do it. It's like, how about you both? Like, I don't really see why.
Well, the idea
it's not like two guys are competing against each other. You know what I mean? If it's saying like, would you rather have Micah Gilbert have a breakout year, or would you have Quincy Porter? I get that, because it's like dueling at the boundary position. But Keeley, it's like he's not. There's absolutely zero correlation between the two guys. There's zero. There's nothing there. It's unrelated. It's like this something. It's just coming out of nowhere. So both, I think the other thing is too, is like, of course you'd want to have Quincy Porter healthy, but the thing is he's not. So it's like, you can't even really speculate on it because it's like it's just a fact. He's not. So I guess I'll just take Keely taking a pretty big step.
I would take Keely as well, just to take a stab at the question, because like defensive ends are like you want that, like a good defensive line and a good pass rush and good defensive ends are kind of like they're backbreakers in college football and all of football, right? You can score points via your defense, and like having a good D line isn't actually the way actually a way to do that. Okay, let's get to the first prop here. The first one, buy or sell. I'm just going to go hot right off the top. CJ Carr will be a Heisman finalist. Buy or sell that?
Buy. I just did. I don't think it's come out yet. I'm pretty sure I'll get an email when it does. But I did the Notre Dame senior alumni show. I've done it for like many years or whatever. Mm-hmm. With Eric Hansen and Chuck Freeby did it again this year. So I'll promote that when that comes out. But we were asked to give our season predictions, and like Eric and I, and we both said 12-0. So I just think it's just if they're Notre Dame's 12-0, it means CJ Carr's cooking. He's cooking. He's had a great year. I think I was thinking about this in terms of Fernando Mendoza. I think in many other years, not that he didn't have a great year, he did. In many other years, he's not winning the Heisman, but he had good numbers, but not like he didn't have
not a Lamar astronomical numbers. Yeah,
it wasn't like Lamar Jackson in when he won the Heisman or even Johnny Manziel, right? Like it wasn't like that. His big Heisman moment was coming back in a game that like they had no business even being close in against Penn State, like that thing. So, but he was on the best team. He was the best player on the best team, and he got it a little bit Gino Torretta-ish. Obviously, he's a better player than Gino Torretta, but just in that kind of thing. And I just think with Carr, if they go undefeated, it means he's having a great year. He's going to put up numbers. I don't know if he's going to win it, but he's going to be there.
Yeah. I mean, Mendoza last year, like 41 touchdowns. Obviously, that's very good. He led the nation in passer rating. I'm sure there's other, like EPA per play and stuff. I'm not looking at that right now, but I'm sure he was up there. So, I think, 220 yards a game, like some of these are, elevated by the fact that he played 16 games, right? So like your numbers are going to get inflated that way. I think if Notre Dame is 12-0, I think there's a great chance that obviously CJ Carr makes it, right? And that kind of goes into the other props that are coming in as well. But we're just kind of looking at individual players. Like I think people are high on CJ Carr, and I think most people would say yes to this. Like they're buying it. But then, like, there's a lot of questions about the wide receivers. Like, if CJ Carr is going to the Heisman Trophy ceremony, like the wide receivers gonna have to be pretty good. That's just the nature of it. Which is also why I would have Keon Keeley as a defensive end that I would like to hit because I think Notre Dame is good enough at wide receiver to do that. But I would buy this as well. I do think he's going to make it because I predict Notre Dame's going to go 12-0. So this will be interesting. All right, buy or sell. Aeneas Williams averages over 6 yards per carry. Now let me give some context to this. Okay, the only running back in the Marcus Freeman era to not the only running back who led the team in rushes. So I'm assuming that Aeneas Williams is going to lead the team in rushes. The only running back who hasn't averaged over 6 yards per carry is Audric Estime in 2022. He averaged 5.9. Right, so Estime in 23 was 6.4. Love in 24 was 6.1 and 6.3 in 2025. Interesting that Estime was 6.4 in 2023. Do you think that Aeneas Williams will average over 6 yards per carry in 2026?
Yes, I do. And I said buy on this as well because I also just like briefly looked that up right before the show just to kind of to see like I like would I be saying is this crazy to say that? And it seems like the norm, right? For a Notre Dame running back to do that. And I also think if you look at like it over his career, he's averaged, I think, like 7.6 per carry. I know it's a little bit different because some of that's garbage time last year, but like last year in garbage time, he averaged 9-something yards per carry. Like he's a guy who makes yards after contact, is going to break something. He's not going to, get the 90-yard Jeremiah Love runs that a lot of other people have, but I do think he'll be over 6. They'll probably like, low 6 something.
Yeah. So I was looking at this, and it was interesting to me to note. Now, granted, he's not getting like first team carries, right? And he doesn't have the volume of someone like Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. I was looking, and last year, or over his career, excuse me, Aeneas Williams has 59 carries. He has 8 runs of 15 plus yards, which is 14%. 14% of the time. Over his career, Jadarian Price, 11% of his rushes are over 15 plus yards. 10% for Jeremiah Love. Obviously, those are very explosive players. But like Aeneas Williams is like he's running the ball, and he's been an explosive player. It's kind of one of those things where like you look at him and you don't see it. You don't see an explosive just game breaker, right? And maybe he won't be at like 15 plus yards. Like we're not tracking 30, 40 plus yards, right? But he's doing the things that you need to do. Like over his career, he's averaging 7.6 yards per carry. I understand that it's a small sample size, but we've seen players with small sample sizes also carry that over. So like someone like Dexter Williams, right? He was a very small sample size guy prior to 2018.
Yes. But he's always explosive.
He was always explosive. Like he carried that over. Like it would be weird for me to see a situation where, and look, and you can also say like he's going against the second team and it's in garbage time, whatever. He also has a second team line, right? He's usually with the backups like all the way across the board. I just think that the eye test tells you no. The data says yes. And this isn't, and I didn't look it up in terms of like receiving, but it also shows up in the receiving piece of it, right? We're talking about like, Ge Wang talked about how he came up with a big over the shoulder catch against Penn State in the Orange Bowl. And it's like, that's a big time moment, a big time catch. Yes. But also like, that's him running a route that is 100% designed for someone like Jeremiah Love. And they ran it with him in one of the most high leverage moments you can have as a football player, right? Down 10-3 in the Orange Bowl in the second half. So I just think there's an eye test piece to this. It's somewhat like Kyren Williams, although Kyren Williams himself he averaged a little over 5 yards per carry throughout his career. But like every back, except for Audric Estime in 22, which was 5.9. And then he jumped that up to 6.4. He was right there. Every back has. I think he's going to. I don't see. I would have put this at 1,000 yards, but I also I don't want to Now I'm extrapolating.
You don't know, yeah.
Now I'm extrapolating like Nolan James and Kedron Young and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I'm just saying his production itself. I think we're going to look back and say Aeneas Williams, by the numbers, was one of the more explosive players that Notre Dame's had at the position, because he's proven that throughout his career. He's just shown it, So I think that's something that people might be overlooking in terms of like Notre Dame. It may look different, but from the numbers wise, explosiveness might not take as big a dip in the running game as you might think.
Yeah, and I would say too, there's a high standard at the position, and I think it makes sense to me that he meets the standard.
Yeah,
whether or not he's going to be as good as Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. Probably not, but he'll meet the standard.
Yeah. So and plus, he's got a ton of confidence in himself. And by the way, I was thinking about this from the confidence that he has. One thing that I think the room needs is it's one thing to have like a bunch of unproven players, but I think it's super important for them to have a player who takes ownership over the group. And I think Aeneas Williams does that. Matter of fact, I know he does that. It's a guy who's like, hey, it's a big time game. It's a big time moment. Like, I want to be in there. I want to be in the game. I hope they give me the ball every time. I think they need the ownership piece in that room, and I think he provides it. Whether or not he's a captain, I assume he won't, just because there's other options on offense that have been around longer. But he acts as a captain in that room, and I just think that's big for a team that wants to do the things that they want to do. Like, I just think he has that kind of attitude. I think it's very important. All right, buy or sell. 2 Notre Dame wide receivers, this has to be wide receivers now, have over 522 receiving yards. The reason I picked that number is that is the average total receiving yards for the top wide receiver in the Marcus Freeman era. The most receiving yards they've ever had at wide receiver from 2022 to 2025 is Faison in last season with 640. So it seems like a low number, but that's been like kind of what it is now. So it has to be a wide receiver. It can't be like, I don't know that there's going to be a tight end that goes over this number.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, it's going to be wide receivers.
But they do spread the ball around. So do you buy or sell 2 receivers have over 522 receiving yards?
I'm buying it. I mean, I would like to, not pretend that I'm just shilling here, but like I do think that like, last year, like you mentioned, Faison. Well, they had Faison went over 600 and Fields went over 600. So they had 2 guys over 600.
Yeah.
I would say it would be a disappointment if they had 2 guys. They're going to have at least 1 guy over 600, maybe even more. And I think they'll have another guy who's either over that or at least close to it. I wouldn't be surprised if they have 3 guys kind of hovering around this, to be honest. I think that's possible. I do think you're going to see CJ Carr's numbers kind of like jump up that much more this year. And we've talked about it in other shows before too, right? Like one of the things with like Estime in that season, they gave him a lot of run in games where like they were blowing teams out. He didn't need to be in the game, where they're like, we want to get him 100 in this game, because they wanted to get him like, a Doak Walker, finalist thing, even though it didn't help for some reason. He probably should have. He probably deserved it. But it didn't happen. But I think last year, one of the things too is they wanted to get like Love enough numbers. And I think if he didn't get hurt in the Stanford game, they would have gave him the rock a ton in that game just to get like one last kind of statement. So he has like one more 200-yard game to help him maybe get win the Heisman or something. Right. So I just think with Carr, they're going to throw the ball a lot. And there's going to be probably in some of these games where Notre Dame is winning big and you say, yeah, isn't it time for Teddy Gerard or Noah Grubbs or whoever the backup is to get in the game? And they'll be like, let's give Carr another series here because we want to chuck it around a bit, see if he can, pad the stats a little bit.
Yeah. Next one. This is tougher. A Notre Dame player registers buy or sell double-digit sacks. And for some context, 6 players, or there have been 6 times that a Notre Dame player has exceeded double-digit sacks in a season. 1 player has in the entire history. Now that they haven't always taken sack records.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure probably Ross Browner. These guys probably did it.
It probably happened. But since they started tracking it, 1 player has registered double-digit sacks twice in a season. Do you know who it is?
I think it's Isaiah Foskey.
It is Isaiah Foskey. Good job by you, Jamie. He did it in 21 and 22. So he had 10 sacks in 21 and 11 sacks in 22. The other players are, of course, Justin Tuck in 2003 with 13.5, Stephon Tuitt in 2012 with 12, Victor Abiamari in 2006 with 10.5, and Burt Berry in 1996 with 10. Number 13. Number 13, love the vibes.
Burt Berry, good pass rush in the NFL too.
He was a good pass rusher in the NFL. All right, so does a Notre Dame player register double-digit sacks?
Yeah, I think people brought up in the comments. So Mike said Troyer's got 15 sacks. I think 15 sacks is. I don't think. I think it's It's possible, but I think it's highly unlikely that anyone is getting 15 sacks. It's just one of these things. There's just not too many um, guys, period. How many guys in general? I would like to actually look at how many guys have had 15 sacks um, in a season over the last like 10 years. Like it's
In college
probably
football?
in college football in general, or like power four guys, because there's always going to be some random guy from like Marshall who gets like 17 sacks. And it's like, yeah, he's going against these Conference USA bums at offensive tackle that he's just destroying. And he's going to be a first round pick or whatever. There's always some guy from Louisiana Tech or whoever who's doing that. But like guys who are going against like power four teams, you know, week after week, I think it's a little bit different. I'm going to say that no, I think you're going to have a sell. So yeah, so I'm going to sell, and I'm going to guess that they're going to have. I think it's possible, but I wouldn't be surprised if like Boubacar has an awesome season, but he ends up with like 9.5 sacks or something like that, right? And but the TFLs reflected and the pressures and all that kind of reflect like something different, right? And I always think because it's funny because Michael Bryan on the Cord was asking about how PFF tracks sacks and they count half sacks as full sacks, which I think you should. Because if you get a half sack and you combine or something, you want to beat this tackle clean. It's somebody else beats a tackle clean. Everybody deserves a sack just because somebody else got there at the same time. Like
right.
I would like to see that happen. So in terms of PFF sacks, I bet he'll probably have over double digits, but maybe not in the half sack thing. Cause I think there's going to be some other times where it's like him and Bryce Young meet at the quarterback at the same time or whatever. Right. Like I think there's Notre Dame depth wise is going to have enough guys contribute. So I think that sack numbers are going to be high. Like for, I don't know. That's interesting. I would like to know what the record for most sacks is. I know it's like pretty recent. I think it was like maybe 41 or something like that on the season.
Yeah.
I think as a team, I'm buying them breaking the sack record this year.
So you have them breaking the sack record, but not one. Yeah. Like, I just think they're going to spread it around. Like you said, you know, and again, because it's so hard, you know, like it just never happens. It almost never happens. And I think, you know, Isaiah Foskey was like incredibly good at finishing. Right. And so there was another piece to that. Like he didn't have as many pressures, but he was a
incredible finisher.
Yeah. So that's obviously good. Just looking at players with 15 plus sacks in a season. Yeah.
Yeah. I got to say, because Sam Kate, that is what Vamo said, took him down like a sack of potatoes. That is where the term sack came from, because it was Deacon Jones.
Deacon Jones, yeah, from the Rams, yeah.
Yeah, he was the one who coined the term. So, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, someone mentioned Chase Young in the thing, just to put a bow on it. Players with 15 more sacks in Power 4 conferences. Will Anderson with Alabama in 21 is 17.5. Harold Landry with Boston College in 2016, 16.5. Chase Young, Ohio State, 16.5, 2019. Akeem Mesidor, Miami, 15.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Did not get that guy he was a first round pick. He did not get the love. Go back and watch any of the games. The guy was dominant. He was incredible. Just Bain was obviously insane as well. But Mesidor was incredible. And there was a lot of overreactions about, you know, Knapp and Wagner getting whooped in the first week. And I'm not saying they didn't get whooped, because they did. They whooped everybody. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Notre Dame did not have to play those two guys in week one. Sight unseen, having not seen them that season. You know what I mean? Like that's, gosh darn it, man. That's not.
And they did not play like that the year before.
No,
either.
They did not.
So,
they did not.
And because if you recall, the Texas A&M game going into the beginning of the season, a lot of hype going on for their defensive line. I mean, they had Oh,
Yeah.
one guy was a first round pick, two
Yeah.
other guys were second round picks. They had studs. They had three guys that were like legit, blue chip studs. And I mean, I'm not saying that Notre Dame didn't have their hands full with those guys, but it was a different level with Messidor and Bain.
It didn't have to be like that, like
No, it
Anthony
didn't.
Knapp and Emil Wagner just like completely just they've been taking arrows since that game, and it's like people didn't. It's like, man, that was a tough ask,
Yeah.
and people didn't really see it coming. No one saw those two guys coming like that. So
No.
all right. Number 5. This is for Jaden Daniels. We got to give him the respect on the fifth. Anything you have to say on Jaden Daniels before we move on? We would be remiss if we didn't mention him in the 5th spot here. Anything you want to say about his wonderful career at LSU?
I mean, I think being sour about the giving the number 5 thing, I don't like. I think maybe he should just let it go. But the reactions from some of these people has put me back to the Jaden Daniels side of things. It absolutely has. Once again, Josh Pate, this guy, I don't know how this guy has grifted his way into a ESPN
I didn't see what he said about this.
You're not Joe Burrow. Yeah, well, he didn't play with the same guys as Joe Burrow. And he also won a Heisman. He had incredible. I'm sorry he didn't throw 60 touchdowns like Joe Burrow. So what? The guy still won a Heisman. I mean, if his defense wasn't 100th in the country, he could have maybe won a national championship too. Like, it's not like give me a break. Like, you're not Joe Burrow. Get out of here, Josh Pate. This guy sucks. He is not good at his job. I do not know how this guy's grifted his way into an ESPN gig. I don't care if I ever see him or whatever. He's not good at the job. And there's a million other takes like that where people just were like dog whistling stuff about Jaden Daniels. And I was like, man, this has really turned me into don't give away that number. Jaden Daniels, put some respect on Jaden Daniels' name.
You should have checked with him. Jaden Daniels. They should have checked with Jaden Daniels.
That at the very least.
They should have checked with him. Granted, I assume did Jaden Daniels get a degree from LSU?
I mean, who knows if all these guys got degrees, but he was I think he was a 6-year guy, so I'm going to guess yes.
Yeah, I'm going to guess. Hopefully for him. That would be great, and I hope he did. But yeah, Jaden Daniels, respect, number 5. All right, buy or sell, number 6. The defense surpasses 99.88 pass efficiency defensive rating in 2026. Their best of the last of the Freeman era was 99.88 in 2024. The team that went to the national title game. Do they surpass that this year, Jamie? Is this year have a better passer efficiency rating? Defense.
Yes, I'm going to buy it.
You're going to buy. Okay.
I'm going to buy. I think it's only because if I said sell, it would just be like, oh, it's just under whatever it is, because it's like one garbage time touchdown or something can affect it. But I think about, they're one of the best in the country at picking the ball off last year, as well as the previous year. Almost everybody there who had like a bunch of those picks, they're back. There's a whole bunch of guys with ball skills. They have backups in if Joey O'Brien is in a game in a garbage time situation, if Joey O'Brien and Ethan Long are on the field in a garbage time situation, one of those guys is getting a pick. Like, there's going to be stuff like that helps propel what they do. And I think if you look at last year, they faced really good offenses. Like even some of the teams that were bad. So Arkansas, terrible. The most terrible team, the most explosive offense in the country in terms of explosive play rate. And what Notre Dame did to hold them down in that game was impressive. And I think what Notre Dame did in terms of like their pass defense overall, they're not going to play. I don't think there's an Arkansas team that's going to be like, they're not going to be good, but the offense is going to be awesome. Like they just don't have as many of those teams on the schedule this year. So I think the rating is going to reflect that.
Vamos asking, is 100 the ceiling on the number? You actually want to go lower. You want to go as low as possible. So they hit 100. They were like right at 100 a couple of times. You want to go low. So it's essentially passer rating against. So it can go super high, right? It can be in the 200s if the quarterbacks are doing well against you, or it can go low. So you want it to go low. 0 is the floor, I guess, on that. I'm actually gonna sell. It's gonna be like right around 100. I just think that teams they're just gonna have to pass a little bit more, and there's just going to be a little bit more garbage time success. I totally hear you. This is just a hunch on my part, right? It has nothing really to do with the quality of what I think this team is. I just think there's going to be a little bit more like playing younger players, and they're just going to give up some stuff
here and there. Yeah, I think that makes sense too. How about this though? So they had 19 interceptions in 2024. They had 21 in 12 games. Last year is kind of insane. Obviously there were some games where they had like 4 picks, whatever, in the game. Then there was the Syracuse game, which was like gift after gift. But we're buy or sell 20 over 20 interceptions this year.
Buy. Because I'm factoring in the pass rush.
Yeah,
where it's like the way that Notre Dame plays defense is just like this is kind of where you get into like no one really likes Notre Dame playing zone, but I love the way that they use their safeties. Like I got a question for you.
I got a lot of picks in zone last year too.
A lot of picks in zone. Hey, I got a question. Buy or sell? Luke Talich leads the team in picks.
That's a pretty good one. I think he's going to have like 4-5 picks this year.
I think he is too. Yeah.
I mean, he had 3 last year and he barely played. Like, relatively, like he played 200 plus snaps.
He didn't play as much as he's going to play this year. He is going to play a lot. That is my big. He is always going to be out there.
I'm buying over 400 snaps on him this year, which is like pretty much double of what he did last year.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good one. I think I'll go sell because I think Beronte Johnson is going to lead the team in picks.
Beronte Johnson,
but I think it's.
See,
it wouldn't be surprising.
That number will get like that's 5 or above.
He's also going to be in sub package situations where there's going to be a whole bunch of times when they're throwing the football.
Yeah. And see, I like Talich in this spot because they use him in that we're dropping a safety. Like we're rotating the nickel away and we're dropping the safety and the quarterback isn't really sure who's going to be in that spot. Oh, he looks open. I'm going to throw. Like we've seen Talich get 2 picks on that specific situation already in camp. And that's just from clips that have been put out by the university. So I just think that's an interesting.
Some of that robbing over the middle too. You could see.
Yeah. Here's a. Where'd it go? Hold on. This one's Matt Freeman special. I'm so happy to put this up because this was inspired by something I saw on the internet or on YouTube talking about Justin Yoon's top 5 longest field goals. I'm like, Matt's got a stealth YouTube account. All right. Buy or sell? Spencer Porath surpasses Justin Yoon's field goal kicking percentage while he was at Notre Dame. That percentage is 81%. He made 59 of 73 attempts at Notre Dame. That is very good, 81%. So does Spencer Porath surpass that this year? And does he make a field goal after October?
Just quick tangent. I was looking at because I was doing some stuff when I was looking at like 4th down aggression stuff for 6 thoughts this week, and I was looking at how many times where I was like, they would have kicked the field goal here, like where it's obvious they would have kicked the field goal here.
Yeah.
There. And I thought there was going to be more than I found. I really found only 3 blatantly obvious times where I was like, they would have kicked the field goal here. Like, and it would have, but in saying that, in those games specifically, it could have made a big difference if they just made a field goal in there. And like, it changes changes how the game is played by them not converting on these 4th downs that weren't really 4th downs they should go for. But anyways, just a tangent. But I'm gonna say yes. I mean, he was great last year at Purdue. I think he's a very good kicker, and I think it's gonna be like close, but I think he's gonna be over 80%, and it's gonna be, and I think they're gonna put him in situations too where just a lot of the times too, he's gonna have like the green light to go in like some of these situations where it's like, well, it's 4th and 7 from the 22, and those are, I think a lot of those are going to be automatic now.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna sell just because I think he'll be like 78%. I think he'll be just under. I think the Notre Dame Heat is different than Purdue Heat.
That is a good point. Yeah,
like it's just. I think these guys, like even Mitch Jeter to some extent. I mean, obviously he came up super clutch in the playoffs, so credit to him and credit to his dad for getting him right. And so that's a good thing for him to have in his back pocket, his dad working on him. I don't know that Spencer Porath's dad's going to be able to help him with other issues that might come up. But yeah, I just think that there's a little bit more pressure at Notre Dame than Purdue when you're kicking there. But I think he's going to be good, and I think that I think that people are going to be confident in him because he has a good. He seems to have a good mental makeup to him, and it seems like he's doing really well in practice.
Yeah.
So that's an important thing.
Yoon was a cool customer. That was definitely one of his strengths.
Yoon was a cool customer. He did have some. I mean, he definitely had some makes and very clutch moments, but I remember, like, I'll never forget the miss he had against, who was it? Vanderbilt, that almost cost them in 2018 when
oh yeah.
It was 22-17 and it's like go up by 8 and he missed it and then they almost went down and won and almost ruined that whole thing. And I'll never forget, like, Jonathan Dorr, when it didn't matter, his misses were some of the worst misses you've ever seen. Like, just he's missing the net. Like, he's missing, like, there's people like on the end line, like, that are in danger. Like, you got to have, yes, you got to be on the alert on all ends of the field. If it matters,
yes, it reminds me of like going golfing with my friends where you're like, just guys just going out golfing and they're like, oh my gosh. Like when you see there's some of those. And I mean, people don't even want to know. If people saw some of John Doerr's practices, they'd be like, oh my God, Notre Dame is in trouble. But the guy was absolutely clutch. It was a big moment. He was pretty much, he felt like he was automatic. I mean, I don't have the numbers, but it had to be pretty close to automatic.
I mean, the 19 game against USC, I feel like he made like 5 field goals, something like that. I mean, he made a ton of field goals in that game. He made a bunch of I think he made 5 field goals in the Clemson game in 2020. Just right down the center. He made the game winner against Florida State in 2021 in overtime. And then it's like, oh, this game doesn't matter at all. And we're duck hooking it. We're just pull hook, right into the band. The band's not safe. So that's good stuff by him. That's it for the buy or sell. I wanted to get your thoughts on your buddy Kirk Cignetti. Before we, I feel like you're prime for something like this. Every coach wants to play Notre Dame under a specific set of circumstances at a specific time. What is he talking about? I want to play Notre Dame. This is like, to me, this is just like full on gaslighting. I want to, so like
100%.
a couple days after they get out of
They
the
got out
get
of
out
the
of the
contract,
series,
yeah.
he says, I want to play Notre Dame. They should play us twice at home, and we go there once because they're not in a conference. What does that even mean? What is he talking about?
I think he's talking about, like, first of all, this is used to be a thing that, if you know, like how like Bobby Bowden, when he was started out at Florida State, and they were an independent, right? Like they were not in the ACC. Like no one cared about Florida State.
Mhm.
He made Florida State into something. And at that time, and a lot of it, like with Joe Paterno too, but I don't know, like in terms of what he did for Penn State, it's like the same kind of level, without the stuff with his defensive coordinator being a terrible, horrible human being and predator. But I digress. Bowden would go and he would agree to these deals where they would play, okay, hey, we'll play anybody. So we'll play 2 at your place and 1 at our place as part of the contract to do it. So it's like a very old way of doing it. And teams would do this with, like if you're doing a deal with like Bowling Green or something like that, and just say like, okay, well, yeah, Bowling Green, instead of just having the bye games, they would have okay, well, Ohio State's going to play Bowling Green, and they'll say, well, you can play 2 at our place, and then we'll give you 1 too, to try to give you a benefit of it. It's kind of like Brett Bielema making that one off the cuff comment about like Notre Dame being in a conference and acting like he wouldn't, like Illinois is somehow above Notre Dame because they're in the Big Ten. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And him saying it after they have had them on the schedule. It'd be so different if it was like there was no, just out of context, and he was just like taking a shot at Notre Dame for schedule this year or something like that, right? If he was doing that and it didn't have anything to do with them dropping out of that, it would make maybe a little bit more sense, but it'd still be gaslighting. This is just like the dumbest thing. Almost as dumb as people saying Notre Dame should call their bluff and do it. No. Notre Dame just proved they don't need to do it, because as soon as they did that, they got USC back on the schedule. So it's like they just replaced them. Just like how as soon as they got rid of or USC was like, didn't want the smoke, BYU was like, yeah, we'll play you. They don't need, Notre Dame doesn't need Indiana. But this is for you, Indiana. No one cares about Indiana other than people who went to Indiana. Nobody else does. I know they just won the national championship. They deserve all the credit in the world for that. What he's done there, yeah, it is incredible. Like, to go to some place that's like, man, if Clark Lee did that at Vanderbilt, it would be it's the same kind of thing. That's the level of it, right? Like if Clark Lee took them to the national championship. So that's something that's like, it's unprecedented. It really is, and it should be celebrated. But this whole idea of like basically him before the playoff game last year too, talking about how the way he spoke about himself and his team, it was like, oh my God, like he's really just an a-hole. Like I really hope Notre Dame plays Indiana in the playoff this year, please. And because it would just be hilarious to me. And I know they won the national championship. You can't take that away. But just if he is 0-2 against Marcus Freeman, that would just be really satisfying for Notre Dame fans to just feel like, get out of here, man. Like, you're talking about the Big Ten and this, like, congratulations for everything you've done. But yeah, just go ahead.
I just think there's always like a way. Like you can't take it away from them, but we can minimize it a little bit. You know, like so for example, right? Look at
them not playing Virginia last year.
Not, but well, you know, then you start to look at stuff, right? Like didn't beat Notre Dame in 24, right? Then they got crowned a little bit by the committee. Let's just be real, Okay.
Yeah.
Notre Dame was the team deserving of being in that playoff game against them in the Rose Bowl. They just were. All right. And we don't need to talk about it. And I got something else for somebody else. Okay. Just give me 1 second. All right. Because you know what? I gave you a rant. I'm going to take a rant on this as well. We're talking about like they didn't beat Notre Dame. Then they didn't have to play them. Crowning. It was a crowning. All right. Let's just say it. Okay. Like Penn State down. Okay. They had to beat Oregon to get in it. Okay. It was a great win against Oregon. Only ranked team they beat in the whole regular season. Okay. And they ducked the team. That's a crowning. All right. If Notre Dame beats them, it's like I'm looking at like this is kind of OKC Thunder to me, Jamie, with when you win the one time, when you get crowned, you get the Indiana Pacers in the final, and then Tyree Halliburton tears his Achilles in the finals, and you don't got to beat them with him. Like, and then the next year you lose. It's like, to me, it's a fluke. Go away. I don't want to disparage the Raptors. Okay, congratulations. But it's very in that ilk, okay? It's very in that ilk. That would be the angle that I took if Indiana doesn't win. It's like, no. You got crowned. Congratulations. Okay. To me, it's like this guy, people need to stop like genuflecting to his words. Like he's just a guy who says stuff, right? And they cashed in on a great opportunity last year. Like, that's a great job by them. If Notre Dame beats them this year, I'm sorry. Like, it's an asterisk. 2025 is an asterisk championship to me if Notre Dame beats them. Like, because you didn't get them the year before and you should have. And everyone knows that. All right? Now,
congrats on beating the team in the Rose Bowl that didn't deserve to get in.
They didn't deserve it, and everyone knew. And everyone knew. Now, on the topic of deserving and all this other stuff, okay? I'm at my wit's end with the Danny Cannells and the Colin Cowards talking about special treatment. People keep talking about special treatment at Notre Dame and the memo of understanding as it relates to top 12 team automatically gets in. First of all, everyone, like, did we not just witness the special treatment that Michael Irvin talking about on that little podcast, talking about how there's going to be some shaky stuff going on and special treatment for Notre Dame in Notre Dame Stadium. Excuse me, all right? Did we not just see everything that happened with the college football playoff last year? Alabama 100% got a guaranteed spot. Rising up a spot. They didn't get special treatment. Alabama didn't get special treatment. The only team to ever lose in the conference championship game to not drop in the poll. They lost by 21 points, 28-7. Like, they didn't get special treatment. Danny Cannell acting like all these people coming up with all these scenarios. Well, what if Miami wins this game and they finish 11 and Notre Dame finishes 12? Notre Dame's going to make it. It's like, bro, what kind of tomfoolery do you think takes place in this committee room that they wouldn't just rank Notre Dame 13th? They can rank them wherever they want. That's the whole point. It's like it's like the top 12 thing is such a nothing thing that they have put in. They can rank them wherever. There's no people don't wake up one day. It's not like it's a computer. They can rank them wherever they want. This isn't a special thing. And we know they can rank them whenever they want because Miami went from 19 or whatever they were all the way down to 10, beating the same teams by the same score that Notre Dame was when they were ranked 9th. Was that not special treatment? Were they not treated in a special way? Were they not given a spot because the ACC and Duke won the ACC conference, the conference championship game? Was the ACC not just gifted a spot? Of course they were. Why? Because they got special treatment. It wasn't written into the MOU, but it happened in practice. And these people they're just bad faith. They're acting in bad faith, acting like, oh, Notre Dame, because it was written in there, it must be so. They can change it however they want to do it. And we know that because it happened last year. It happened last season. Notre Dame got screwed by some BS from the committee, and everyone is good with it because they're happy about it. They're happy about the screw job that Notre Dame got. If it went the other way, then they wouldn't like it. You know what I'm saying? So like everyone is acting in bad faith, and it's pissing me off. Like we all saw what happened, and so that's my rant on it, Jamie. I apologize if I went a little too long, but that's how I feel, man. I'm getting upset. It's pissing me off. Like people need to stop acting like this is all written in stone when it isn't.
We also need the season to start.
We absolutely need a season.
We need the season to start because, one, I think everybody wants to see this Notre Dame team play. They're going to be really good. Two, some of these dudes need to get humbled. And obviously, Indiana, there's no chance that Indiana, their schedule. I mean, they're not getting humbled out of conference with who they're playing out of conference.
Yeah.
And they're going to make the playoff again. Like I would be surprised if they lose more than 2 games. I would be kind of shocked actually. I just think they're going to be good again, but there's definitely like, I just saw Brett Venables signed a big extension. Which, okay. I don't know. Who's trying to hire away Brent Venables?
Yeah,
I used to give him a raise. He made the CFP. Sure. Why you give him a big extension? These ADs are dumb. They're dumb.
I mean, in that. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I was gonna say if you find someone that works for your school, maybe he's worth more to you than he is to someone else. But yeah, I don't know. Clemson. Sam K said Clemson.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. Not something I would do, but it's like one of those things. Like you'll probably regret it in like 2 years when they don't do very well because they had like a kind of a fluky year last year, and gosh, why couldn't Alabama just beat them? Anyway, all right, that's going to be our show for today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you like what you heard, hit that like, hit subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know whenever it is we are going live. We'll be back next week for our normal schedule, Power Hour Monday, Hit and Hustle Tuesday, Thursday, as we gear up for the regular season. It's a lot of fun. Have a good rest of your week. Have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon. Keep hitting and hustling.